Good afternoon, welcome back if you've been with us all afternoon, and welcome if you're just joining us now. We are beginning the final stream of the We are beginning the final stream of the 2020 Heidenheim Men's Epee World Cup. And we are just doing the presentations for the top 8 finishes. welcome back to Heidenheim, Germany for Fencing Vision's coverage of the 2020 Heidenheim Men's Epee Senior World Cup. We are about to get underway with the first semi-final. Our full semi-final lineup for you now is Sergei Bida of Russia taking on Gergely Sikloshi of Hungary. This is a rematch of the 2019 World Championship final from Budapest earlier, last year, in which Sikloshi won 15-14. Our second semi-final is Olympic champion from Rio, reigning Olympic champion, Park Sang-young of Korea, and he will be taking on Radoslav Zawrotnik of Poland. Zawrotnik, who came through pretty much the entire Italian squad on his way here and has been making real inroads into the Olympic qualification ranking race today. But first up, Bida Sikloshi, a rematch of the 2019 Men's Epee World Championship final. Bida will be on your left, Sikloshi on your right. We've seen quite a bit of both of these two earlier today. Sikloshi with a difficult last 32 draw that saw him in trouble, and then he managed to come through, turn it around, raise the intensity and bring himself back in. Bida has looked strong all day. We saw him in a really tested in the last 16 against Yamada of Japan, where he was able to contain Yamada's physical and athletic approach and put him under pressure with his own attacks, with his own actions. And so now we're settling into this, our first semi-final. We saw earlier today with Bida. Bida likes to work with his point around the wrist and the hand of Sikloshi, using that to create mistakes or to then accelerate off of it. But then he can also change up his rhythm by attacking off of with no setup at all and launching straight away. And he's used that variety particularly well in his matchup with Yamada. Sikloshi has looked very agile, very quick. He likes to take, very Hungarian in liking to take blade, liking to have a strong contact on the blade before then setting up his actions, and able to set up good attack, good defense, but loves to work with the blade. Sikloshi just looking to pick at the wrist. Very few of these will be deliberate, just looking to set something up, just try and provoke a reaction. We've had our first minute without a hit, which means we're going into first calling of the unwillingness to fight rule. What that means is that now both fencers are on a P yellow card because they were both level scores. Sikloshi driving in aggressive flesh. So from here on, the stakes get raised every time we have another minute without a hit. The trailing fencer, if there is one, will incur a P red card, which will give the other fencer a point. This rule it brought in January last year in an effort to try and raise the tempo, raise the pace of these fights. Twice now Sikloshi's driven in looking to attack over the top or interrupt Bida while he's taking his time to set up. We've seen a few look to do this. Yamada looked to do it in their matchup in the quarterfinals, but he never quite was able to do it. Nice from Sikloshi, drifting back this time. He knows that Bida, we've seen this from Bida. Bida sometimes will set up and then sometimes he will just go. And that time just going, but Sikloshi's ready and he's able to draw it out to its fullest and catch it right at the end. Sikloshi not giving anything away, really. A little bit of play on the blade, but he's looking to keep himself balanced, keep himself agile, and take advantage when he feels a mistake comes. Nice attack over the top from Bida this time. He knows that Sikloshi might like to pick around the wrist, look to score opportunistic hits. This time he pulls back the wrist and attacks over the top. See the distance just starting to close up. Last 10 seconds though of this period. And that takes us into the first minute. Early exchanges, no real rhythm or theme set up. Both have been scoring hits when they've been on offer, but you've not seen anyone who's able to really find a tactic or find an action that they can rely on to score and start to build pressure on the opponent with. So I think we'll start to see in this second period just a bit more looking to open out, maybe use the piece. You see both of them going to full lengths of the piece, trying to find a change of distance, try and find a change of direction, try and find a change of speed that they can use to then catch the other off guard. But neither one, you know, we said they contested such a close World Championship final back in July in Budapest. With Sikloshi coming out on top 15-14, so this is a cagey match early doors. We're not going to see much risk until we get towards the maybe the back end of this period, start and the back end of the third. Sikloshi's doing a good job of just using his point to be a bit of a nuisance for Bida. Bida likes to have that space around the wrist to work, and Sikloshi's just clearing the blade out, not letting him settle, not letting him set up his actions the way he wants, and that's allowing him to jump in when Bida tries to reset. Probably look to see more actions from Bida, where he's launching without that methodical preparation, that methodical build-up. It's been a hallmark of him today. Nice driving in from Sikloshi. He's mixing up his rhythm really well. A lot of the work that's going in with Sikloshi is about his distance and his change of direction. He's just trying to draw Bida forwards or trying to draw Bida to retreat, and then he's changing really quick, snapping into the attack. And you can see as Bida's looking to just ask questions, he's getting little responses from Sikloshi, but it means that he's not getting the responses he wants. And then when he does go, it feels like he's going before he's gained a reaction from Sikloshi. It looks like Bida's losing his patience, and so Sikloshi's just able to pick him off. This is potentially a real problem now for Bida. He's got 4 hit deficit. It's not the end of the world, but he's going to have to start eating into it. Nearly halfway through the second period now. Really nice from Sikloshi. He does a very good job where he's mixing up what he's giving Bida. So sometimes he's keeping his blade in play, sometimes he's disrupting Bida's setup, but sometimes he takes it out of the equation completely and creates entirely from his change of direction and his change of speed. Great example of that there. Get caught in close, and Bida's able to capitalize. Sikloshi not happy with that at all, immediately sends the referee to the video to review it.
Skiklos hier hat das Bild für einen Bildschirm in die Luft gemalt. Er möchte den Videobeweis in Anspruch
Saw
nehmen.
earlier today, Ciclosi, when he's really feeling his rhythm, when he's feeling his distance, he's so effective at just pulling apart mistakes as he sees them. But early on, he just lost his intensity. You saw sometimes he could lose his intensity and lose his focus, and to allow his opponent to just really get on top and dominate the fight. Not seeing any hint of this so far. He's staying right in it. His movement is really good. Intensity is really good. It's all for Bida now to work out the answers. We saw against Yamada, a Japanese fence who likes to pull his opponent into his half, that Bida was able to force down the piece and set up his own attacks. A nice mix of aggressive attacks, but this time these attacks are just not working. Ciclosi has an answer at every attack. 5 hits now, the gap. Ciclosi's just not giving Bida anything. And he's picking him off every time he tries to set something up. This is a dominant performance from the reigning world champion. Every mistake is being punished. Every time he's a little bit too close. Bida's not able to set up because of the variety that's coming his way. He's being interrupted when he starts. He's being hit over the top, just like that. And then he's being caught on the wrist. He's being caught in parries. Ciclosi's using a full range of options, which means that Bida's setup is not convincing, and he's not certain what his options are. He's changing his weapon now. As much as anything, he needs to buy himself some time, regroup. We need a change of plan, because this approach that has worked so well for him up till now of just taking his time to build and be patient, draw mistakes, is not working, because Ciclosi is just disrupting everything he's doing, being unpredictable with his actions, and is just patient and working up and down the piece off his legs. Into the second minute break. This is really broken open. So remember where we were at the start of this period. We said that it was a KG. We said that there hasn't been much happening, and now the score has just been broken open completely. Huge range of scoring actions from Ciclosi, and he's just left Bida with this mountain to climb now going into the final period. What's his answer going to be? He needs to find a different way to force Ciclosi onto the back foot, because Ciclosi just looks comfortable, he looks balanced, he looks calm, he looks relaxed. He looks like he's just working off instinct and trusting his technique to find answers to whatever it is that Bida throws at him. When he steps in big, he's ready with the flesh. When he tries to extend himself from too far away, he's ready with the counter-attack. If he rushes in hard, he's been able to parry and score the riposte almost every single time. Final period of 3 minutes now. What is Bida's answer going to be? What change are we going to see in him? Something needs to be different. You can see Ciclosi just holding on the edge of distance. He's calm, he's relaxed. Just waiting for whatever that moment is, that mistake. And this time he gets caught up. Bida stays strong, stays on the blade, and is able to keep it under control and score. He's going to need more of this, though. All for Bida to do now. 6 hits in 2.5 minutes. Absolutely not impossible, but he's got no reliable outlet. He's got no reliable scoring action, or nothing that's really come out through this fight. Tries to go fast, changing up the tempo, looking to go with a lot less setup in that action. Now we're starting to see maybe something. Gone to the review. Maybe Bida was off the piste at the moment that his light came up, but it's a better intent from the Russian fencer. He's looking now to just keep a tighter distance, not set up as much around the wrist. He's got to create more and be more dynamic, and he started to see it a bit more of a drastic change of direction, a bit more of a dramatic change of speed, keeping the distance tighter so that he's taking away Sikloshi's reaction time. See, there's a little bit more positivity now in this setup from Bida. He's just trying to insist with that point a bit more. But again, he gets trapped, and you can see the frustration. He's just about getting the reactions that he wants, but always Sikloshi has an answer to get himself out of trouble. He's got some way of finding a way to get his own point onto the target. Sikloshi is still looking calm, still a 6-hit lead, and only 3 hits now needed to take him through to the final. Looking calm, looking balanced. That change of direction, and then that just rock-solid Hungarian technical ability. And again, just takes over the top. Bida looks like he's guessing. He doesn't really know what Sikloshi's going to do, so he's guessing at what he thinks will happen, and it's just making him so easy to pick off. He's showing his hand long before Sikloshi, and Sikloshi's just able to choose the right answer for the rushed action that Bida's giving him. And again, he just picks him on the wrist. Everything is rushed, everything is forced, and now 14-6. This has been a dominant performance from Sikloshi. You wouldn't say he's actually had to do an awful lot. He's just moved well, stayed balanced, and just been there in the moment, picking up the mistakes. He's just picked up mistake after mistake after mistake. Any time it's been too close, any time he's been overextended, and that variety keeps it so difficult for Bida, who's just been left guessing what's going to come next.
Und die Entscheidung ist für einen Treffer.
After consulting the video referee awards, another hit for Bida. It's the second or third that he's had in this case, but when nearly half of his points have come from third, fourth renewal actions, it just shows that he's really not had any kind of consistent outlet in this fight. It's been the footwork and the distance control of Sikloshi that's dominated this fight. And even as he gets right towards the back here, he looks calm and comfortable. He takes the double point and goes through to the final. Dominant fencing from Gergeles Sikloshi. Goes through to the world champion, goes through to the final of Heidenheim 2020. He stayed mobile. He didn't get caught in Bida's in probing around the wrist. And once he'd taken that weapon away from the Russian, it was very, very difficult for him to find his rhythm in the fight. He ended up guessing, chasing the fight, and was there to be picked off by the Hungarian. Our next semi-final will be coming up in just a moment, and that will be Olympic champion Sang-Young Park and Radoslav Zawrotniak, the Polish giant killer from today, who's gone through and through world number 1 Andrea Santarelli. He's gone through Federico Vismara, the young Italian who was having a really good day, knocking out Max Heinzer in the 64, and then in the quarterfinal, Zawrotniak took out his third Italian, Enrico Garozzo, 15-13, really strong all day. His attack has been so aggressive. He's controlled the Italians with the threat of this aggressive attack that he has. And then his defense has shown to be strong when Vismara in particularly looks to rush him, looks to put him under pressure. Park, fresh from an incredible quarterfinal really with the French Titan Yannick Burrell, 15-14, but the fight was over in 2 minutes 10. It was really, it was impossible. If you weren't sat down ready, you would have missed it. It's just such a physically intense fight, and this is what Park brings. He brings real physicality, real intensity to fights. His athleticism and his power. You can hear it when he lunges. You can hear the sound it makes on the floor. And he's got such a variety of attacking options that it's so difficult for an opponent to pick it up. So we've got two strong attacking fencers here. Zawrotniak, much the senior, he's 38 years old now, much more experienced, much wilier. Park, still only 24. He won Rio, he won the Olympic Games when he was 20 years old, beating another experienced campaigner, Geza Imre of Hungary, who at the time was in his 40s. The key here, no one today has been able to deal with the variety of Zawrotniak's attacks. He's got short attacks where he can go anywhere. He's got longer attacks where that he can extend. He can go high, he can go low, he can change up the rhythm. Very few people have been able to deal with them. Likewise, Park, not as much subtlety, but the physicality and the speed that he brings means he's got just enough variety. He's got an aggressive flash, and he's got ferocious acceleration. And what Zawrotniak will be aware of is that sometimes in a lot of fights it's taken Park a few hits. It's taken him up until 7, 8 hits to really work out exactly how he's going to get his attack working. But then once he does, he's been able to accelerate away from a lot of opponents. Saw it in his last 32 match against Lan of China, where he's trailing by 3 points, and then the timing, the distance, the speed clicked on the attack, and he just accelerated away. Referee calls hold. We've had a minute without a hit. And the yellow for unwillingness to fight, the P yellow card, goes to Zawrotniak. He's the trailing fencer, so he receives the punishment. If we have another minute without a hit and Park is still in the lead, it will be a point to Park. Remember, these P yellow cards and P red cards act differently to normal red and yellow cards for basic infringements. They're a category of their own. Park looking very happy to sit on the edge. Not feeling the need, like he did in the quarterfinal, to have to really push his attacks and keep pace with an opponent who was just going to drive him. Showing his variety. He's still young as Park, only 24. Showing variety and maturity to adapt his game to what the situation demands. Very few people have been able to find their way through Zawrotniak's defense. And as I say it, Park drives through. Full stretch attack. 5 seconds left on the clock. And we go into the minute break.
Radoslav Zawrotniak kennt dieses Gefühl, hier im vorletzten Gefecht noch dabei zu sein.
Parker's looked very calm, very relaxed. He knows what his weapons are. but so does Zawrotniak. The attacks and the speed that Park brings, it's not a secret weapon by any means. And Park has done well to just keep himself disciplined, keep himself under control, pick his moments to go. Because Zawrotniak is such an experienced competitor, and he does have answers for just raw speed. It's going to have to be more than that. So far, slender lead for Park. Similar sort of story to what we were talking about in the previous semi-final, a KG opening period. Again, though, the concern for Zawrotniak, like with Bida in the previous leg match, what's going to be his scoring action? What's going to be his thing that he can rely on and that he can build a game around? We've already seen two really aggressive flashes from Park. That means now that's always going to be there in Zawrotniak's mind. That's twice now as well that Zawrotniak's attackers at the very best only come out with a double. Park's first point skipped away and landed the stop hit. This one gets hit but still lands the counterattack. So Zawrotniak's big weapon that he showed against Santarelli is not really there. And so he's now starting to press hard. And even then, so this is interesting because in the previous rounds, every renewal was going Zawrotniak's way. He was so relaxed, he was so calm that it didn't matter whether his first action failed, his second action always landed because he was there and he was ready. But now it's going Park's way. This is a really different situation to what the Polish fencer has been in all day. And now as he starts to drive in, he's able to be interrupted. So this is 3 attacks now that Park has been able to take away from Zawrotniak. And he's just started, the Polish fencer has just started to try and force the pace. He's 40 seconds into this period. He's just started to try and force it, try and find an answer. And immediately, it's cost him 3 points. And again, scoring over the top. The athleticism of Park. He's able to go in, skip back out, and skip back in. The agility, the change of direction, the change of speed. Yeah, he's got all of the answers. And again, Zawrotniak's attack is unable to make an impression. This is a 5-hit lead now, and Zawrotniak is in real trouble because he has no weapons so far that have shown that they can hurt Park. Park will know that he's got his attack. He'll always have that in the back pocket. And it'll be the threat of that attack, that direct flash, will be the threat of that creates most of his options. See there, Park just skipping in quickly, and now Zawrotniak collects and goes. Park just reminding Zawrotniak that he's got the attack, that attack in there, and he ends up ploughing into Zawrotniak. Zawrotniak says, "Yes, thank you. I know you're sorry you ran into me, but I'd still like the referee to tell you to have a yellow card." He sent the referee off to look at the video.
Nicht in die Tasche, also keine Verwandlung.
Referee has returned, no sign of yellow card on the box. And back underway. We saw a hit there, we saw the previous point. Okay, first time in this match, 2 single lights for Zawrotniak. And both of them, he's let Park go first. He's let Park commit to an action first and then had the answer. And then just an attack out of nowhere. He's landed 2 hits by being patient, by forcing a response, and then he goes and tries to launch an attack. His attacks have not been working. and Park is able to skip away, catch him on the arm as he's on the way out. He's going to have to be more intelligent, using his attacks to set up other actions rather than looking to score with them directly, because Parker's got too many answers if he just tries to go simplistic. And he's too quick, and he's too mobile. Into the final 45 seconds now, this second period. And again, just a simple attack from Zawrotniak, and every time he's getting picked off, every single time. Remember, we started this period 4-2 to Park, so that lead has now doubled, and a lot of that has been attacks that Zawrotniak did not need to launch. When he was fencing earlier against Gorotso, against Wismara, he just was not forcing those attacks. And there's the flesh again. We've not seen it for most of this half. And then bang, he just reminds Zawrotniak that he's got that in his toolkit. 5 hits the lead now. Park looking really strong. Better from... Caught up close. No actions landed. They end up stepping off the box. Zawrotniak saves the scoring equipment. Back underway. 20 seconds left in this period. Zawrotniak just trying to insist a little bit down Park's end of the piece, but he doesn't look... The Korean fencer does not look phased. And again, he's just unable to land with these renewals that looked so relaxed and so effortless in earlier rounds are now looking rushed and frantic. The speed of the Korean fencer is just forcing Zawrotniak, the veteran Zawrotniak, to have to go and to seek points out. We go into the break now, and this is a very, very different situation. 4-2 going into this start of this period. 13-7 now. Park has just pulled this one apart, and so much of it is down to Zawrotniak feeling like he has to rush, feeling like he has to push. It's very similar feeling in reverse to what happened with Wismara. Wismara felt like he had to push, felt like he had to be the first one to go, be the first one to attack, otherwise he was going to be in so much trouble against Zawrotniak's attack. Now it's on the other foot. Zawrotniak is the one feeling like he has to push. He's feeling like if he gives Park space, Park will just launch that attack. He's landed 2 or 3 of those direct fleshes now. They're a weapon, but the majority of Park's points have been coming off of picking off of Zawrotniak's own attack that's been rushed and that's been not well developed, not well set up. And that, you're seeing that in the renewals as well. Final period now. Park needing 2 to close and go through to the final. This time the flesh does not work. Zawrotniak finally gets a read on it. He's patient this time, sees it all the way and lands. But he's in such a difficult position now. Park can just look to get his point on any action that Zawrotniak does. If he's close enough, if he's in range enough, if he opens himself up, Park can just land and score and close the fight out. And there again, attempted attack from Zawrotniak. Park's interrupting it, scoring over the top. Very much the story of this fight. The Olympic champion goes through to the final, where he will meet the world champion. It is as good a lineup in an Olympic year as we could have. You're going to be seeing both of these fencers in this final will be so mobile. They'll be so dynamic on the piece. Park, slightly more physical, slightly more aggressive with his attacks. Might start with a slight edge, but Sikloshi is on a real high. World champion, he's fenced well to get into this final. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back soon for the start of the men's final. Gergely Sikloshi of Hungary, the world champion. Park Sang-young Korea, the Olympic champion. Welcome back to Heidenheim 2020 Men's Epee and Fencing Vision's live coverage of this competition. We are down now to our final, and it is probably as good as we could have hoped for. We have the current world champion Gergely Sikloshi of Hungary taking on the reigning Olympic champion Park Sang-young of South Korea. Both of them through their semi-final matchups in dominant fashion. And now into the final, ready to start. They have both looked so strong and so assured today. Park on our left, reigning Olympic champion. Sikloshi on our right, reigning world champion. Sikloshi came through Sergei Bida of Russia, who he shared a final with in Budapest for the 2019 World Championship. And then in Budapest, 15-14. Today, a much, much more convincing victory for Sikloshi. Came through 15-8. Park Sang-young came through Radoslav Zavrotniak, who is really a giant killer and a real mover up the Olympic ranking race today. After he'd taken out Enrico Garozzo, Federico Vismar, and Andrea Santarelli. But Park just had too much, too fast, too physical, and too precise when it mattered. Both of these fencers were able to pick up of mistakes and capitalize on opponents who began to rush and began to try and force hits. Be interesting to see how this plays out, because both of these are such effective counterpunchers. Anyone who begins to get a lead will start to look in a really strong position. So the question will be, once a lead starts to develop, how does the trailing fencer begin to come back? Both of these have shown really great variety. With Sikloshi, it's in a really sort of classical Hungarian way. Lots of varieties of different kinds of action. So we see there a feint to wrist dropping straight onto the foot. But he's got the parries, he's got the flesh, he's got stop hits, he's got the lot. With Park, what you see is an awful lot of actions that are attacking in nature, but with variation in timing and variation in execution. And it just makes his aggressive style so difficult to deal with, that he can attack at so many different ways, at so many different speeds, at so many different timings. And then early, really quick, sharp counter-attack on the top of the wrist. Strong flick from Park. He's got the precision as well as the power. The real weapon goes with every time that Park is on the piste, is you know that he's got this aggressive attack in his locker. And it's always a question, when is he going to use it, and do you have an answer for it? Always the unspoken question that sits in the air between the two. Sikloshi fencing so well when he's got pace, when he's got an opponent who likes to rush, he's got a lot of speed and he can work from that speed. He can trust his instincts and trust that Hungarian technique to get him out of trouble. In that moment there, just triggering a flash, maybe fractionally out of distance, but importantly, you're doing it against an opponent who's balanced and confident like Park. See the dynamism in these two as well. They move so well up and down the piste. What you don't get with these two is a drift towards one end. They're both using every inch making the most of the 14 meters that they've got available to them. Aggressive attacks from Park, really starting to drive, really starting to force the issue, and it means that he gets Sikloshi on the back foot, and it means that that renewal is now much more likely. So fast. Again, he goes down, he misses twice, he still stays in there. Because he's alert, because he's ready, he's still able to fashion a double. Good interruption from Sikloshi this time. It shows Park that maybe he's looking to attack. And we go into the minute break. One burst of aggression from Park right at the end there. So far, Sikloshi's done a good job of managing the different kinds of attacks coming his way from Park, and this will be really important for him as he goes through the fight, because if he can get into a position where he can make it so that Park's strong direct attacks are not a danger or not as much of a threat, or certainly that Park doesn't believe that he can score with them, then Sikloshi's got a chance. But if Park's able to start to land a few attacks, and that gnawing doubt, it starts to sit there in the back of Sikloshi's mind of having to always be there, be ready to deal with the attack, then it will play into Park's other games where he can pull apart a fencer who starts to try and rush at him and starts to try and push. But this is so far Sikloshi doing a good job of just containing Park's attack.
Deuxième match, 2 vidéos, 2 vidéos. En garde. Prêt, allez.
When's the next test for Sikloshi going to come? Dealing well, but now he catches on the way in. You can start to see there the danger that you get with Park.
En garde. Prêt, allez.
He just piles on the pressure, piles on the speed, forces you to go, and then he's there to just slam the door closed with a strong take you the blade and score. Oh, and there it is. That's the attack. You could see there the distance was just starting to get closer, starting to get within range, and there's nothing you can do about that attack. There's nothing you can do. Park's now starting to try and insist. He's putting the hammer down a bit. Sikloshi pushing forward. Now he's in danger. Now Sikloshi's in real danger. Park has raised the tempo with 3 quick hits. He did this in the semi-final. The scores were 4-2, and then in the second period, he just raised the pace, raised the urgency, insisted, and he's doing it again. He's now pressing. Sikloshi's having to act because he's had 3 attacks land. He's felt that direct lunge to leg. Suddenly, a 4-hit lead from nothing. It's what the speed of someone like Park can bring. It can just make you have to do a bit more, feel like you have to go earlier, feel like you need to stop it before it begins. And now Sikloshi's on the front. Now he's insisting, bringing 2 points back. Tempo of this match has increased notably. Dropping down again. Park looks to go again. Sikloshi's got an answer. He stays safe, stays out, doesn't rush in. So vital. He doesn't try and jump on the first opportunity. He waits for the one that's right. Just trying to find that little gap in the distance, just trying to find that little half a step. Can they get them closer than they want? They get close, Park scores. But this is the game now. Can you convince the opponent just to take half a step in too close, where they're not able to defend, where the distance is too tight? This time Sikloshi baits him. He sets the trap. He knows what Park's looking for. He knows that Park wants to be able to launch that flesh as he steps in. He shows it to him, but he's ready. He steps back, scores. And this does it again. So now this is important. Park's attacks have landed earlier in this period, but now Sikloshi's dealt with 2 of them. Big moments now. Sikloshi goes into the lead because now Park feels he has to rush. His own attack doesn't feel as convincing. It's not as much of a weapon as it was. He needs to create opportunities maybe from other ways. But then Sikloshi starts to look to try to take it over and gives Park back an opportunity. You can feel the tension in this fight. And this time, the pressing forward from Park doesn't work. Sikloshi is calmer, he's relaxed, he's starting to feel that he can deal with the attacks from Park, which means he's more committed to his own attacks. And again, but he gifts it back. He gifts it back by launching his own. It's the same story from both of them now. 14-13 Sikloshi. Sikloshi induces an attack from Park and scores. He stays low, 14 all, unbelievable. When either fencer is attacked in these last minute and a half, whoever is attacked has lost. So now who's going to jump? Both of them want to attack. Sikloshi in, underneath, scores. 15-14, world champion. Superb performance from Sikloshi. Let's not forget, in the mid part of that period, he was down. He was down and Park was looking in the ascendancy. He clawed his way back. He found the answers to Park's attack. He started to get on top of it. And then he was able to draw mistakes. He was able to make his own actions work. And that final action, springing forward off of the line. Park not ready, scores underneath. Thank you very much for joining our coverage of the 2020 Heidenheim Men's Epee Individual World Cup. Join us in a moment for the medal ceremony.
to the foot there. One hit to go through to the final of Heidenheim, and the 17-year-old Davide Di Veroli has done it. He is some talent.
Thank you for joining us for Fencing Vision's coverage of the 2020 Heidenheim Men's Epee World Cup. Join us tomorrow, where it'll be the all-important team event that takes centre stage as we drive onwards towards Olympic qualification. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.